This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Outdoor Pro Shop, LLC. Outdoor Pro Shop is a family-owned and operated firearms dealer and sporting goods retailer. They have pay-over-time options, a rewards program, and customer service satisfaction that is unmatched. They might not be the biggest, but they strive to be the best. Contact them today at 240-360-1298 or visit them on the web at www.outdoor-pro-shop.com. That's Outdoor Pro Shop, 240-360-1298. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. We are finally back in the studio after being gone for 2 weeks. Woo! Good Lord. It's a crazy start to August here at the Booth household and in West Virginia. I mean, we had a couple crazy storms that was there at the beginning of August.
Yep.
Took down a tree in between my neighbor's house and my house. I was inside, and you know, the kids were going crazy because they thought it fell on the house, and I was like, I don't want to go outside because I heard it crash, and I'm like, the whole side of my house was gone. So anyways, thank God, you know, his protection was over us, and
Amen.
It fell. I mean, there's some tree cutters out there that probably couldn't make this tree fall any better than what it did.
That's awesome.
It fell like right on the fence line between my neighbor's house and my house. So it messed his fence up, which, you know, we had to replace that.
Yeah.
It messed some of his gutter up and his fascia and soffit and all that stuff. Messed that stuff up.
Yeah.
Messed the mast, the electrical mast on top of our houses, mine and my other neighbors.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we have 3 houses there that pull the same power off the same pole that was in my yard. So the tree took the power pole down and that, and oh, man, I tell you, it's just a mess. I mean, power company comes and puts the pole back in the ground, and brand new pole. And, you know, it's not their fault because they don't know where this stuff is. They do 811, and they come out, and they only do the main lines.
Right.
They don't do any private utilities, you know, from house to house.
Yeah.
So they go to put in this new pole and freaking clip the side wall of my sewer line. We didn't know this until 2 days later.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're a great company. I mean, like I say, I'm not putting it on them. I know it wasn't their fault. It's just something that happens. You know,
right.
They told me, it's like, hey, you know, this happens a lot. You know, it's kind of out of our control because we don't know where these lines are. So, but they come back, fixed it, made it right. And
that's good.
You know, we're still in the cleanup phase. I still have the whole, you know, top of the tree beside my house that I'm waiting to get, you know, chopped up and in a chipper.
Yeah, nice.
But other than that, we're back to normal in my yard.
Yeah,
there for a long
good.
time. Everybody that was coming and letting the dogs out at our house while we were on vacation, they kind of had to scoop under the tree there and walk past my truck and the trailer that was full of all kinds of debris, and it's horrible. But anyway, so how's Dave's world?
My world is great, man. My world is great. Nothing really new, I guess. Getting ramped up, start school.
Yeah. Yeah, school's getting ready to start up.
Yeah.
Things are about to get even busier.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Sports and school start at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like,
I tell you, Trevor's already he's been in soccer, or not soccer. He played soccer, but he's in golf now. I was thinking of your kids when you said they're in soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Haley's in soccer. Yeah. Blair's starting a hip-hop dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Don't ask me how
happy
I am about
that's
that.
going to be a little crazy. Well, anyways. Hope everybody else's world out there is going great.
Yeah.
And their summer's going good. Hey, the temperatures are starting to get cooler. You know, it makes me start thinking of fall and deer season.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we got our deer season segments kind of rolling its way in. Mm-hmm. We've got a good guest tonight, Trevor Hubbs. He heads up the Armed Forces Initiative. with the Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and they're going to be doing a bunch of stuff. I mean, they do over 100 and some hunts every year with veterans.
That's amazing.
So, and it's several veterans on each of these hunts, I believe. It's not just like one or two people. So, but we're going to introduce him here in a minute, and he's going to tell us all about that Armed Forces Initiative. So we got the link for the Armed Forces Initiative. If you're watching our Facebook Live right now, we've got that link that you can visit. And, we've got another episode that'll be airing sometime this week. We're going to get back on schedule. We usually air Wednesday mornings, but since all this stuff's happened and it's been a little crazy, it's kind of delayed things, and we're getting back to normal. So next week we'll be back to Wednesdays, but you'll probably see another episode drop this weekend, which will be, Carl Evans with Flatwater Outfitters out of Georgia. So that episode will drop this weekend. So be looking out for that. But, so let's get right into it. So without further ado, please welcome with me Trevor Hubbs with the Armed Forces Initiative of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. Trevor, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on tonight.
Yeah, man, I tell you, it's a pleasure. We had to cancel on you one time, and I was like, I sent you an email, and I thought, man, I don't know if I'm going to get a hold of this guy. He's kind of hard to get a hold of.
It's been wild. I'm in the field about 215 days a year.
Yeah.
And when I'm not in the field, I'm at my desk till 10 p.m. It's the growth has been pretty incredible.
Man, That's awesome. So how long have you been with Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and when did you start and things like that?
Yeah, so we started as I started as a volunteer working on the Armed Forces Initiative back in 2018, and then I took we got some pretty big grants, and one of the grantors was like, well, you really have to bring on a full-time position for this to get this money. So me and like four other volunteers that we'd all kind of served, or new people that served together, and kind of a friend of a friend of a friend thing, all drew straws, and I was in the best financial position to kind of take the pay cut and jump into the unknown there. So now I work here full time. This is my job.
Man, that's awesome. So where does some of this funding come from?
Yeah, I mean, it comes from all over. We raise about $80,000 of it ourselves, just like through our corporate partners. So like Vortex will give us a pair of binos. We'll raffle them off or do some sort of sweepstakes. Winston Fly Rods gives us some stuff, FHF gear. There's a whole bunch of them. And then the remaining comes through grants. Our biggest sole grantor is Veterans United Home Loans. So they do like $25,000 a year. We get a couple other like $5,000 to $10,000 grants, and that's about it, man. Like one just comes from a construction company in Peoria that found us via Google and has been given to us for a couple of years now.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So some not the big names really. It's kind of like some of the everyday working folks that give into this.
Yeah, well, it's so we've tried applying at the big names. Like we don't get anything from the VA. We don't get anything from. I shouldn't say that. We get probably $5,000 a year from Cabela's and Bass Pro.
Okay.
But it's kind of a new idea, right? Like we don't exactly fit into like the VA, like veterans mental health therapy, but we don't exactly fit into like a hunting and fishing nonprofit either. So we're kind of in the middle, and that makes some people weird because there's a lot of grants specifically for one or the other, but there's not a lot where like when we apply, they're like, you kind of fit into this box, but not really. You fit in over here a little bit more. And it's anyway.
Yeah. That's something kind of interesting that you bring up. I really think that our outdoors, in general should be part of the therapy. Like there's so many programs like your all's that are helping veterans. It needs to be recognized more, in my opinion, on a public, more national, realm, I guess. I don't know.
I would say it would be just as important as any kind of physical therapy or anything like that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, because that's mental therapy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's mental and physical therapy, really.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean,
I know how much I need it. Like when I have a work week,
yeah.
Let alone the things they've been through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I just so is there anything that's going on behind the scenes that possibly push that forward into that spectrum?
Yeah, so if you look at like the tail end of 2019, I'm gonna mess I don't know the exact date, but it's like right at the end of 2019, President Trump passed or signed into law the Accelerating Veterans Outdoor Recovery Act. which is a mouthful, but essentially it mandates the use of federal public lands for what the VA calls Veterans Adjunct Outdoor Therapy, which is any kind of outdoor therapy that happens without a licensed therapist present.
That's awesome.
Man,
So ideally that happened, but unfortunately in 2020, pretty early, COVID happened, and the entire government just decided to forget about it. That's not true. They didn't forget about it. They just haven't really taken any actionable steps yet at a federal level.
Wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And what was that full name of that again? Accelerating Veterans Outdoor Therapy Act?
I think I messed it up the first time. I think it's Accelerating Veterans Recovery Outdoors Act.
Recovery.
I mixed up the recovery and the outdoors piece, but
Outdoor Therapy Act or just Outdoor Act?
Outdoors Act.
Man, that's awesome. I that's something I didn't even know.
Yeah, so what it really did is it formed a task force with a bunch of Department of Interior people, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, a lot of people from the VA, from like senators, congressmen that serve on various like veterans related committees, and they meet once a quarter. I want to say their biggest. So they're just now, whatever we are, 3 years later, really get into like the meat and potatoes. Like, hey, what are your results? How many people are you taking a year? What is the most valuable? What's the least valuable? Just trying to gather data to where they can make some recommendations. So ideally, November of 2024, they come up with some funding programs or some money or some sort of federal recognition where there's at least some sort of, media or official language put to what we do, which would help a lot.
Okay. Well, that's pretty awesome, man. I'd say Donald Trump has his son has a lot to do with this because I know he's a big hunter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So give us a little more in-depth history about Armed Forces Initiative.
Yeah, so Backcountry Hunters and Anglers is just a conservation organization, similar like Delta Waterfowl, Ducks Unlimited, Trout Unlimited, and every year they do a membership survey, which 2023? Yeah, 2023's version is live now. If you wanted to go to the website and fill it out, and basically just ask, what are you interested in as a conservationist? Do you like R3 efforts where you're creating more hunters and anglers? Do you like more wild game cooking? Do you want more access issues? Do you want to work on habitat? And it just tries to gauge what the members are interested in so that we can focus our efforts on doing those things, right? So in 2018 was the first time we asked, are you a veteran, in that survey? And at that time, 12.5% of our members were veterans, which doesn't sound like a lot, but compared to the general U.S. population, which is only 3 to 6% veterans, then we're double that without really even trying. Right. So that started 2018 when I got involved as a volunteer, where Backcountry Hunters and Anglers is looking, all right, well, what are we doing to attract such a large percentage of this military community? What is this beneficial? Is it not beneficial? What can we do to kind of understand this more? And a ton of stuff came out of that research, but the most important thing is not only were we 12.5% like military members, but half of those military members were leading at the state level. So they were like state treasurers, state event coordinators, some sort of volunteer.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right, to where they're doing the majority of our events, like whether that's stream bed restoration or, planting sagebrush in Wyoming and restoring that shortgrass prairie, whatever. They were all being led by this. So then Backcountry Hunters and Anglers takes that information and they're like, wow, we really need to develop a program to focus on this specific demographic, this specific community. So again, that's where me and I guess really there's four other veterans and four other veterans and one active duty member kind of came in, and they're just like, hey, here's $20,000. Go figure out how to attract more military members. And we didn't have insurance or anything back then. We were kind of just throwing mud at the wall, seeing what works. And collectively, between the five of us total, I think we ended up taking like maybe 300 people out a year. And then after that, we started to really develop like what are our key tenets? What are we trying to do with these trips? And then getting results back in the form of surveys from participants, like what's working, what's not working. And eventually we started getting some more grants. And then I took the full-time job, and I made the rest of those guys the member of our national board. And so they still weigh in. And anyway, now instead of 300 people a year, we take out about, should be at 2,300 people this year.
Oh, yeah. 2,300 people. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of growth.
Hey,
great.
That's amazing numbers.
It's interesting. It's, It's wild. So like funding, big thing. It's real tough to keep up with funding when you have that kind of growth. Like in 2021, when I took the full time job, I looked at it like where I was actually getting paid to do this, and I left my real job. I was like, well, what should growth look like? We're trying to make a plan, and I'm like, well, I think 20% is a pretty aggressive number. Let's shoot for 20% growth, which would have put us at like 1,200 members or 1,200 people like coming to these events, and I don't know. I thought that was a really realistic goal. And then we got to the end of 2021 and we had like 6,000 members. And I'm like, oh God. So I was like, all right, well, let's do 30% next year and maybe we'll get to 8,000 because we're going to cap out eventually. And then we finished 2022 with 14,600 something members.
Wow.
So can't quite keep up with ourselves a little bit.
So is most of the people that work with this Armed Forces Initiative, are they active or prior military?
Well, so about 45% of them are currently active military, and everyone else is either a veteran or like National Guard, reserves, or Gold Star family members, kind of the way we split it up.
Okay.
And then as far as employees, it's just me.
Wow. You do it all,
huh? Yeah,
you're really the one-man show.
Yeah, I mean, the board, all the volunteers at the state level, they do a lot of stuff. Like in reality, my job has evolved into like coordinating insurance, because that became a big thing right. Because I mean, if you look at like a guiding or an outfitting service, like they all have insurance, or they should, to be legal. And so they have insurance to take, I don't know, 200 people out on like the New River Gorge, if you're a fly fishing guide out there in West Virginia. And that's a hefty year for a fly fishing guide, because you only got 4 or 5 months to really make hay.
Yeah.
200 people is a lot. I'm doing 2,000 people in 46 states. So it's just kind of like their guide insurance, but on steroids. And it's, I think that is the biggest, like one source of, that like our funding goes to, is just to pay for the insurance. But yeah, so I set up the insurance. I make sure all of the, like medical plans are solid. All the food, logistics, all that stuff works.
Yeah. So you're basically like the logistics master when it comes to working all these kinks and stuff out and making things happen, really.
Trying to, and then
I mean, you have the money and the funders in the background, funding into this, which it sounds like you all need more. So, that's mainly our goal here. Is our goal is to get the word out about this.
Yeah.
But our other goal is, hey, if you're out there and you're listening and you run a company, or you know somebody that would have a marketing budget for something like this, give these guys a call and
absolutely
throw some of your money into our veterans.
Yeah, that'd be great. One of the things we're working on this year that I have no experience in, like, so I have my master's in business management, and I'm like, it's not even the real MBA. It's the master's of business management, which is like what they give like the football players who have an extra year of ability to like keep them in school. It wasn't hard, but I just say that to say I have no experience, but we're trying to do a lot more media and like media outreach. So we have 6 like films that I wrote, like a script for or whatever. And just like the idea is basically you have a film person or a camera person follow us around at these events, trying to get some interviews captured with the participants, trying to understand like, hey, who we are, what we do, and why you should care. And that's been a whole adventure this year, but hopefully by December 31st, we have all 6 of them done and out on the YouTube.
Man, that's pretty good. Yeah, be sure to let us know when you have those out so we can share those. We'll share those on our page, and it's not nothing massive or anything, but we have a pretty good outreach on our game calls page. We have around 8,000 people on there, so we can definitely push that stuff out to people that normally may not see it. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for offering that. That'd be super helpful.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of veterans in our pro staff. We have a lot of veterans that purchase from us. That's one of the big things that we focus on this podcast, and just as a business whole with Nature's Voice Game Calls, is veterans, continuing that hunting heritage, through our game calls, and just fellowship with your friends and family and keeping that heritage alive. And we do a military salute on every podcast. Yeah. So I'm waiting on that to come in now, because we've went through so many. We're out right now. There's a lady that runs that helps run the Cherry It's called the Cherry Bend Outfitters or Farm or something like that in Pennsylvania or Ohio, I think it is. Mm-hmm. We met her at one of the trade shows, and her dad, which runs the farm, he's military, retired, and that's all they do is take people on hunts on this farm that's been in the military. So that may be a good contact for you guys to maybe get in with them. I'll shoot over her contact information when we get done.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
So as many people as you can network with and connect with, and that has the same goal, the same vision.
Just grows it. Yeah.
It just makes it grow even more.
Yeah.
I mean, it accelerates the passion, and I think it'd be awesome.
Oh, absolutely. I really appreciate that.
So I'm just taking a look here at your all's website. So you all have, give us a little insight on your theory of change.
Yeah, theory of change. I'm not a marketing guy. One of our people came up with that, but essentially that's the three things that I want our participants to take away from every single event. So we try to stick to like 12 to 15 participants per event. We find if we get more than that, then the experience kind of dulls for everyone.
Yeah, I can see that.
We keep it 12 to 15. It's small enough that I can split people off into 3-man groups or 3-person groups, I should say. We do have about 20% female participants. So 3-person groups, and that just makes it a lot easier, whether you're deer hunting, turkey hunting, duck hunting, whatever.
Okay.
3 is easier to deal with. But anyway, so the 3 things that I want people to take away from each of our events is the first one is we just call it short-term medicine. And that's the same kind of theory that is widely known. Like if you look at like Dr. Keith Tidball at University of Cornell, like he writes papers on this exclusive topic is just the effect of the outdoors. And not just being outdoors, but participating in the outdoors as a form of therapy, both for veterans and for just regular communities that have undergone some sort of tragedy, like hit by a volcano or something like that. So he studies farming, hunting, fishing, essentially, is those kind of participatory outdoor things. But the reason that works, and it's worked forever, is pulls you away from any problems you might be having at home, pulls you away from that cell phone, the email, any of those distractions, and lets you just put your entire focus on one thing, whether that thing is throwing this fly to a smallmouth or a brown trout, or whether this thing is just staring through this pair of binoculars at this hillside in Montana until you find a mule deer, right? Like it just completely engages you in an activity for between 3 and 4 days, which is, we do some 1-day events, but most of our events are between 3 and 4 days. So and anyway, so the second thing we try and get out of this, back to the first thing. Sorry, it's late. Anyway, first
you're
thing,
fine.
so part of that is what we want everybody to leave with is just a little bit of knowledge on how to go recreate this experience by themselves.
Right.
Like there's a bunch of organizations out there that'll take people on once in a lifetime trips. Whether that's like a 300-inch bull elk or a 50-inch wide moose in Alaska or these crazy stuff, which is all great. We don't really do that. We like to say we don't do once-in-a-lifetime experiences. We do a lifetime of experiences, right?
Oh,
so during that engagement, it's teaching you how to hunt or fish, right?
Right.
This
you're not going to go on
rod,
a moose
this
hunt.
is what a whitetail rub looks like.
Yeah,
this is why I'm choosing to stand here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So in theory, participants can go home and recreate this. And based on our surveys, about 87.7% of our participants do go on to hunt and fish again based on the knowledge they take away from our camps. So that's good. I don't know if it's as good or bad. That's our initial result that we just started getting back in about June of this year.
I think it's amazing.
But the second thing is a tribe. So we try and keep people geographically located at these camps. So we don't bring people in. Like if you're from Maine, I'm not going to send you to a camp in Alabama or Texas. Like initially we started doing that just to try and give people a different experience, but it really didn't apply. The goal is, can you go out and do this again? Like the Texas hill country is very different hunting whitetails than the Maine hardwoods. So it makes sense to try and do a Northeast camp, a Southeast event, a Southwest event, like kind of trying to keep it regionally together. The other benefit of that is realistically, if at these camps I teach you how to hunt and fish, and I give you a group of people that have the same life experience as you, they've all served, they all want to learn how to hunt and fish, and they're all local to you, like now you have a group of people that you can go out with as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. And then the third thing is the most important part, and that's just a mission. And the difference between like us and some of these other organizations that do outdoor work, like I'm not going to mention anybody because again, everybody's doing great work. There's hundreds of veterans that needs help. But the difference between an active like fly fishing, hunting, and like an outdoor yoga group, you can get the time outdoors, that short-term medicine. You can get a tribe of people, a community going of similar lifestyles, but you don't really have the mission. So what hunting and fishing just naturally comes with is this mission, right? So if you leave, let's call it a fly fishing for smallmouth bass trip in northern Wisconsin. You have a group of folks from the upper Midwest who all want to smallmouth bass fish. They all just learned how. They're going to keep going together. Ideally, this mission piece is why two smallmouth bass fish or why smallmouth are in this exact river, right? What qualities of this river make it good for smallmouth? And if I can get you so excited about this, whether it's smallmouth or elk or whitetail or whatever, right, that you can't help but get engaged in the conservation process, like that's a win, right? It's just teaching, whether that's, all right, well, this is how I work with my local Department of Natural Resources to make sure there's always a smallmouth fishery in my state or my area, or whether that's going to like a local state assembly meeting and saying, as a veteran, I don't like the way you're managing this watershed, if it's detrimental or whatever, just as long as you get involved in the conversation. And I don't necessarily even care if they become like if they leave backcountry hunters and anglers to go form the West Virginia Smallmouth Alliance, that's still a win. I'd love them all to come back to BHA, but if there's one thing that they just get so ate up with that they can't live without it, and it's the whitetail and that leads them down a different path, that's fine, right? It's just engaging in that conservation mission, if that makes sense.
I got you. So, Dave, you got a question about that?
Yeah. What do your members get out of their, from their membership fee?
And one thing I want to say about that, I think that is the membership fee for backcountry hunters and anglers, and the Armed Forces Initiative is something extra. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the membership fee is just like your ducks. It's $35 a year.
Okay.
If you're a veteran, it's $25 a year.
I got you.
But yeah, so that's just the general backcountry hunters and anglers membership, which is open to everybody.
Right.
And then I just run the Armed Forces Initiative. So like all of our events are free to attend. I shouldn't say that. We pay for everything other than your travel to get there.
Okay.
Because our insurance company says if you crash your car on the way and we were paying for gas, then we're liable and we can't really accept that. And then we do make people buy their own hunting or fishing license. We walk you through how to do it. We'll take you to the store on our first day and do it. But we found that if we buy all that for them, they aren't as engaged and versus when they have a little bit of skin in the game. Now, if you come to me and you say, hey, I can't afford the $25 hunting license in Wisconsin, like we're going to take care of you. But we do find that like when we make people buy their own licenses, they're more engaged. They're more willing to really figure this hunting thing out.
Okay. I got you. So again, looking through the website here, this is kind of switching gears, but it's still on the same topic. So DOD Skill Bridge Armed Forces Initiative Program Assistant. Is that a volunteer assignment? Is that a volunteer position? Or is that...
No, so that one's actually paid, which is... so this is after I got out of the Army, which was 2016. And technically, I think it actually did exist in 2016. It just wasn't as widespread as it is now. But so the Skills Bridge program is essentially if you're getting out of the military, whether that's retiring after 20 years or after 4 years, and you know, like, hey, I am not going to re-enlist, your last 90 days on your contract, the Army or Navy or whoever will pay you to go find a job, and they will continue to pay you at your current rate. So like if you're making $60,000 a year as a staff sergeant or a master sergeant or whatever, you're going to continue to make that same amount of money, same government insurance for those 90 days, but you're going to use your skills to go work in the civilian sector. The hope being that you find a job that you like and that you have no downtime between the military as your job and having a civilian job. So there's hundreds of companies, thousands of companies that sign up for this. Like if you want to be an investment banker, if you want to be a construction worker, like there's a program for you. We got signed up for it. And so basically I just cycle people through about 4 times a year, 1 per quarter or sometimes 2 per quarter, and try and get them involved in conservation. We've got one right now. He's just finishing up 23 years, I want to say, in the 82nd Airborne. He's like, man, I really want to be an outdoor photographer. Well, great. I can help you do that.
Nice.
So his job is basically putting together this media plan that I talked about a little bit earlier, categorizing our photographs, telling me, Trevor, you're not good at this. Don't do this anymore. Or, whatever it is. Just sorting out what's good, what's bad, helping us put that, and whether it's like just building a, what do you call it, like a flyer that we can leave at the local VFW, or putting it online. Like, he really helped redesign our website, which I think looks great, especially compared to how it looked when I built it in 2021. But anyways, that's his job. I've got another guy in New Mexico starting October 20th, Air Force veteran this time. He's finishing up like 30 years in the Air Force, and all he wants to do is work with New Mexico Game and Fish. But New Mexico Game and Fish doesn't offer a skills bridge program, so he's coming to us, and all I'm going to do is put him to work rebuilding habitat in New Mexico. Like, so he's going to have all the contacts at New Mexico Game and Fish. They're going to know he's a hard worker. They're going to know that he just spent, and he's actually with us for 6 months. He's got a special deal, but they're going to know that he spent 6 months of experience, whether that's replanting sagebrush or trail clearing in the Gila National Forest or wilderness area or whatever. Ideally, that puts him in the best position to get a job as possible.
Man, that's awesome. That sounds great.
I talked for a while there.
That's great. I mean, these are programs that I don't even know about.
Yeah,
myself.
and the crazy thing is, like, for years, I've always wondered, like, how come whenever they come out of the service, it's almost like the country, man, we just make it hard on them. I don't know. It's always bothered me.
Yeah.
Like why do we not have something in place to where they're taken care of? Like we know what their interests are. Hey, we'll get you plugged in. Almost like a high school counselor whenever you're getting ready to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying?
It's a huge issue, and this is a great step, but it's by no means solving the problem.
Right.
The biggest is, like, so we have for all of our medical plans, we have a primary, secondary, and a tertiary hospital plan to get people there just in case, like, because most of our events are kind of, farther away from the roads. Like, even if, like, we did an event last year 30 minutes away from downtown Boston, but part of that was a 20-minute boat ride in the Atlantic Ocean. Right, so you have to have a plan to get people safety. I say that a guy who builds those for us is a former flight surgeon in the 106 SOAR, which is like the helicopter unit that flies in all the special forces guys. Like, they're pretty good at it. But getting out, like, he realized when he got out as an enlisted guy, even though he has literally performed surgery, given stitches, written prescriptions for medication, he can't even be an EMT without going to a junior college and getting a certification that takes 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it's just like, and
ridiculous.
at that point, it's a little embarrassing for him. Like, what are you talking about? Like, he's in there with some 18-year-old kids that are trying to get on the volunteer fire department. Nothing against him, but he's got 8 years of stitching up special forces dudes in a helicopter while he's getting shot at.
And it ain't your everyday little scratches either.
Yeah.
No? Well,
I mean,
and even to break it simpler,
You're
like,
talking
truck
about guys that's been in the middle of war zones, getting shot and having shrapnel thrown through them. I mean, It just blows my mind.
Oh, it's wild. And you want to break a simpler example is truck drivers. Like, whether you're driving around in Iraq or whether you're just hauling stuff from base to base in the U.S., like, you get out, that truck driving license for the federal government hauling millions of dollars worth of ammunition, rockets, whatever, does not cross over to where you can just go get
crazy.
a truck. Where you got to go to school again. You got to do it all again. Like,
man, I'm telling you, they want to make it as hard as possible. It's I can't stand that kind of stuff.
Wow.
We don't take care of the people that take care of us. That makes no sense to me.
I thought that those things transferred out.
Yeah, I just assumed.
I had no idea.
No, it's hell, you could be a welder on a Navy ship and still have to go to welding school when you get out to be like a real certified civilian welder.
Seems like this is a bigger topic than what we thought it would be, because I mean that's a problem that needs to be
That's
solved.
a serious problem.
That's a serious problem. I mean, and honestly, right now we have a serious enlistment problem. There are people that's not wanting to enlist into the military.
Yes.
We don't have people willing to fight for our country.
Well, and then on the back end of that, Mike, we have a serious workforce problem.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have people coming out of the military that can actually, like, contribute amazingly
that has
to the
all
workforce
these qualifications,
and you want to bottleneck that just doesn't make sense to me.
Why would you not fast track that into them getting into a truck driving position?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
or a welding position, man. Some of these guys are welding underwater.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Crazy stuff, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, me and a buddy of mine was talking about that the other day. If something goes down to where we get into a war, a third world war, I mean, they're going to have to bring back the draft. I mean, it's a real possibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the time that we live in.
Well, I think it kind of depends on, and this is just what I've heard. Depends on who's in the White House, whether or not people want to get in the military. And I'm not making this political. I'm not making this political, but
No,
I'm just saying. But if
good.
you've got somebody in the White House who wants to shove everybody overseas to fight in crazy things, and I'm not saying any of it's crazy, not crazy, whatever. But I mean, like if I can trust someone with my life that they're not going to put me in a position that they wouldn't be in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's hard. That's hard to want to join the military if you've got somebody like that.
I know.
I don't know.
They're one of our listeners. Thanks, Dave.
Sorry, man. Hey, I just call it like I see it.
I'm just kidding. Hey, that's one thing we don't sugarcoat. I mean, we're going to tell you how it is.
Yeah.
And it's going to be real. I'm just playing with you.
All right, good. Good.
I mean, you got to get into serious talks like these.
Yeah.
I mean, because in my opinion, there's not enough of it going on.
No, there's not. And I love...
And Trevor just got us into all of it.
I know. But you know what? I love the men and women in our military. And to put them in positions where...
No, it's great.
I don't know, man.
It's great talking pieces. I mean...
And you bring up some great points. Like, at the end of the day, whatever's going on geopolitically, when you're in an infantry unit or whatever, like, it's about the people on your left and right. And when those people or those leadership positions aren't putting you in a position that they wouldn't or would go themselves, or however you want to put that, are maybe not the best, like, that's a huge issue.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things we see with our female participants is, I'm going to get this statistic wrong, but it's 93% of our participants are, like, considered disabled by the Department of Veteran Affairs. But with our female participants, it's like 50-50. Did you get sexually abused while you were in the service by people that were supposed to be in charge of you?
No kidding.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I've heard
your
that
regular PTSD, I'm pretty comfortable with talking about at this point. But then you've also got the whole, sexual harassment, sexual assault issues that I'm nowhere qualified to talk about. Like,
I had no
you're
idea.
dealing with multiple issues. It's nuts.
Yeah, I've actually heard about that and read about that.
I had no idea. My gosh, that is terrible.
Yep.
Oh, it's incredible. And then you just got people that, like, they signed up just like the men signed up, and, like, leaders aren't taking care of them. Leaders aren't doing everything they can. And obviously there's good leaders in the military. I'm not trying to make that argument, but when 50% of your people, your females, are getting whatever, sexually harassed or whatever the right word is, like, that's probably look into it.
We have bad apples all over the place. I mean,
sure.
We talk about the law enforcement community and things like that. You can't make everybody out to be the bad person when you got a few bad apples.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
So, I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's every workforce that you work in.
50%'s a lot, though.
It is.
I mean, and I mean, that's a small sample.
Yeah.
Yeah, very small sample. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah, because how many of those women are coming out about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, some of them may not even say anything ever.
Some of them keep that till their death, probably.
Yeah, because the soldier mentality, a lot of that stuff they probably keep in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, man.
Wow.
Gosh.
All right, Dave. Well, you want to hit it with the scripture?
I would love to.
Now that we got all political. And
oh my gosh, I know. I'm sorry.
No,
I cannot stand to see people mistreated, man.
Yeah, no, I like it. That's why we have our legislative session to where we have Jason Webb come on and talk about things like that, like what's going on in the legislative world, and kind of get a country aspect to it.
Yeah.
And I think the politics thing, we mingle that in there a little bit, and we talk about it.
I mean, it's just like, it's kind of like, I don't know, man. We kind of throw you to the wolves. You're going to join up. We're going to train you, throw you to the wolves, and then when you get back, given your life, we're just
and could that
going to make
possibly be why we have an enlistment problem?
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of different factors, but yeah.
Yep.
So we try to do a verse of the day every episode. Today's verse of the day is actually coming out of a book that I have here.
Yes.
Yeah, this book is called The Deer Stand Devotional, A Walk with the Creator Through Hunting Season. And it's by Aaron B. Futrell, sorry about that. And author of Why We Hunt. And so I was just kind of looking through here, and I found a scripture that I really like on one of these days, and so we're just going to kind of look at one of these devotions real quick.
Yeah, so I'm trying to finish this book. We're going to have Aaron on during our deer segments for upcoming deer season.
Yeah.
So his family was in the military, and I'm pretty sure he served in the military because when he talks about it in the first part of the book, he comes home for one of the holidays or something.
Okay.
And as he came home, I think that was the last time that he got to hunt with his grandfather.
Okay.
And his grandfather passed.
Yeah.
That's when he started writing the book after he got out of the military. But yeah, he has served. We actually have saluted him.
Yeah, it says while he was stationed overseas.
Yeah, in our podcast. So
yeah. So this scripture is Philippians 3:14. And this is out of the English Standard Version. Says, I press on toward the goal for the prize.
Wait, not the Passion?
It's in the book, man.
I know.
It's coming out of the book, brother. I know. I'm the Passion
I thought
man.
you'd have cross-referenced that
Oh,
over.
I should have. Well, I did. I read it out of the Passion to myself, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to mess with it.
Okay.
Because you know how I am. I love that translation.
I know. That's why I said that.
Man, I shouldn't even mention translations. We probably lose half our viewers because we don't use
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
it helps you understand the word better.
Yeah, I'm not saying you build doctrine on the way things are phrased or whatever, but I mean, I like it because sometimes, it's kind of like you're climbing a mountain, right?
Yeah.
And if you climb up a different side of the mountain, it's going to look different. You're going to see different things. And so to me, like the different translations kind of show me a different side of a scripture, and it's sometimes
you see the highs and the lows, and you see the valleys.
Yeah. And I don't know, it can unlock things for you. Anyway, so I press on toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. Okay, so that was Philippians 3:14. So I'm just going to read something that he says here. So he was talking about hunting with his grandfather.
Yeah.
And he says, every time we're getting ready to go hunt, my grandpa would always tell me, when you're getting ready to shoot a deer, pick out a spot right behind the front shoulder, and when your crosshair hits that little spot, squeeze the trigger, right? And that's what we should do, right? Mm-hmm. Aim small, miss small. Got that from the Patriot,
That's the way I was raised,
Absolutely, yeah. Because if you're looking at that whole deer and you just pull your crosshairs up, if you're not focused on a point, you're gonna make a bad shot.
Well, if you make that bad shot, you're going to spoil the meat.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
So one of the reasons why we hunt is to eat the meat.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
the reason I hunt.
Not only is it fun and it's a hobby of ours,
yeah,
it's a pastime, and we eat the meat.
Yeah, we do eat the meat. We don't want the meat to spoil. That's a waste.
I don't kill anything other than coyotes.
Yeah,
I haven't ate a coyote yet, but Hunt Chef wants to make.
What's Hunt Chef's motto?
Eat what you kill.
Eat what you kill. That's right. So he said the point of aim is so important in hunting. You hit what you aim at. So you need to make sure you are aiming at the right things, right? And so that was that. So then he comes over and he says, let's see. So he did not want us to focus on the whole deer. Doing that would more than likely result in us aiming at the center of the deer, which would result in a gut shot, right? So then you would lose the deer, undue suffering for the animal, right? All those things. Mm. So then he says, aim is also vital for Christians. We should aim to be as much like Christ as possible. We can accomplish this by keeping our attention on Christ. He is our tiny spot right behind the shoulder for which we need to aim.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was cool, man.
Yeah, that is good. That's really good. I read that part, too.
Did you? I don't know about that.
I think I did. Where's it marked at in there?
I don't know.
I have it marked.
I messed your marks up.
Oh, great. Now I'm going to start over. Sorry, Aaron. We won't get you on until next year now. All right. Well, back to Travis and the Armed Forces Initiative, man. I tell you, there's a lot of good things going on there. Or Trevor, sorry. I don't know why I said Travis.
All good, man.
Dave's like, it's not Travis.
Yeah, I'm like, it's Trevor.
I don't know why I said
You're
Travis.
good. My bus driver called me Travis for 8 years, man.
Oh, man.
Well, maybe you just sound like a Travis. I don't know. My son's name's Trevor, so I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just trying to not say my son's name because I'm saying it too much. Trevor. Anyways, So tell us, you all are pretty busy. Tell us about some of the events you got up. I was talking to you today, and we really appreciate you taking the time to come on tonight because you said you hadn't packed yet, and you got a lot of stuff to get ready for tomorrow because you're all leaving out to go to Alaska.
Yeah, I mean, fall is normally our busiest 3 months is coming up, September, October, November.
Yep.
Just because that's when hunting seasons are, and the colder it gets, the harder it is to get people out. Like, we like to say you could show up to our events in jeans and a t-shirt, and we'll figure the rest out for you. But it's a lot easier to figure that out in September than it is to figure out that in December for people.
For sure.
So, so I mean, right now, right now, if you are in Albuquerque, New Mexico, you can go to Lava Rock Brewing Company, and we've got the elk biologist for the state of New Mexico coming in and talking, hey, elk season next month, here's how you go kill one. Like, this is where they are. So that's a pretty cool event. And that's what most of so that's at Kirtland Air Force Base.
Oh,
that's
nice.
what most of our active duty clubs do, is they do some in the field stuff, but they do a lot of, hey, you just got stationed here. This might be your first chance at hunting moose or hunting elk or fly fishing or saltwater fishing, depending on where you're stationed. But here's how you go do that.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So that's happening right now. Tomorrow morning here in, 8 hours, I get on a plane up to Fairbanks, Alaska, where we're taking 12 people caribou hunting, 266 miles north of the Arctic Circle. That'll be interesting. This is probably the wildest event we've done with this many people, just because we've done practice caribou events last year with 2 people, with 4 people, because it is truly the most accessible Alaska hunting experience.
Mm-hmm.
You go up there in August for caribou, you're not going to get this amazing shoulder mount just because they're still in their summer hides, they've still got velvet, but you are going to get a ton of experience on how to caribou hunt. And especially if you're stationed, it's we have people stationed at Fort Wainwright, at Kodiak Coast Guard Base, all these people that you may be in Alaska for 4 years. Let's help you make the most out of being up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to hunt caribou anywhere else you're stationed. Let's see.
No.
Next, coming down the list, we've got some more events in New Mexico, working on habitat for mule deer. Got some events in Colorado we're pulling a bunch of old fence to make some antelope habitat. We got a fly fishing clinic also at Fort Wainwright in Alaska. We've got a Boundary Waters canoeing expedition for, I think we could take 10 on that one. And that's September 8th through the 15th in the Boundary Waters of Minnesota. Got a Montana elk hunt. We have 2 of them this year. This one is on the 8th, and that's in north central Montana. We've got another one in southwestern Montana, September 15th. Pheasant hunts in Michigan, rough grouse events in New England, more grouse events in Washington State.
Man, those would be nice.
Where no matter where you're at in the country, my ask of all our volunteers is put on 2 events a year, whether that's 2 hunting, 2 fishing, 1 of each. Doesn't matter to me. Do what you're comfortable with, right?
Yeah.
You're a duck hunter. I'm not going to ask you to go take people turkey hunting. Take people duck hunting. That's
Mm-hmm.
fine. So we end up with this wide variety of stuff, of different kinds of events all over the country. And what I found out is if I ask for 2, I end up getting about 5 or 6 from everybody. It's wild.
Man, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, with you talking about those events and all the stuff, all the good stuff you got going on, one of the other things we like to do is our salute to valor. And our salute to valor this evening is, get to back up here to the top of the page, Davy Stuckey from Washington Courthouse, Ohio. He served in the Army, Sergeant First Class, 16 years and 5 months. Fort Campbell, Fort Benning, Camp Casey in Korea, 3 tours to Jordan, Iraq, and Afghanistan.
Wow.
Yeah. Meritorious Service Medal, 1 ARCOM with V device, 8 ARCOMs, 4 Army Achievement Medals, an Army Good Conduct Medal, 5th Award, National Defense Ribbon, Afghanistan Campaign Medal with 2 Campaign Stars, Iraqi Campaign Medal with 2 Campaign Stars, Global War on Service Medal, Global War on Terrorism, Expeditionary Medal, Korean Defense Medal, Overseas Ribbon with 3 device, Non-Commissioned Officer Professional Ribbon 3 Award, Military Volunteer Medal, combat infantryman badge, expert infantryman badge, air assault wings, meritorious unit badge, expert, and shooter's badge.
Wow.
Good Lord, what a decorated soldier.
Yeah. And how many years did you say? What did it say? Was it 16?
16 years, 5 months. So,
yeah. Thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. And he was, he was honorably discharged November the 16th of 2016 is when he retired. So, man, that is great.
Yeah.
We sure appreciate your service, David.
Yes.
God bless you, sir, for your service to our great country. Well, Trevor, we appreciate you coming on this evening. And like I said, taking the time to come out and talk to us and tell us a little bit about the Armed Forces Initiative there with the Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. So,
thank you so much for having me. It's busy, but it's never too busy. This is an important part of it, just spreading the word, getting anybody who's interested or knows anybody that might be interested in coming to one of these events. Like, please come on out. Like, go to the website. You can always just email Armed Forces Initiative, all spelled out, at backcountryhunters.org, and that email will be answered. Now, it probably won't be answered in the next 2 weeks because I'm in Alaska, but after that, I will answer it.
Yeah, in 21 hours and 30 minutes and 59 seconds, you will be going to Fairbanks, Alaska. So.
Yeah, that is one of the things you start to look forward to is the minute that cell phone signal goes dead and you got no bars. It's like,
oh, man. Well, I think that's really cool on your all's event thing here. You got a countdown for it. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, man, safe travels to Fairbanks, Alaska, and we really appreciate what you're doing for our veterans out there with the Armed Forces Initiative. And again, we thank you for your time. So,
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Well, everybody, be sure to check us out on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify. We're on about 18 other different networks. And be sure to check out our Facebook Live that we'll have posted here in just a little bit. Make sure you go to the Backcountry Hunters and Anglers page and check out what the Armed Forces Initiative is doing for our veterans. I mean, this is a great thing. So we really appreciate it, Trevor. Have a good night. Everybody, thanks for listening. This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Ghost 802, a sports team based in Vermont. Their goal is to promote safe and ethical hunting and to raise the youth to share the same passion for the archery, hunting, and the outdoors as they did growing up. For more information, check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Let them know that you heard about them right here on the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls.